Logan Paul and KSI's Prime is getting sued yet again. So as we already know, Logan Paul and Prime are getting sued from the Olympics. They have that whole thing going on. Logan is suing CoffeeZilla. He's got that lawsuit going on. And now they have yet another lawsuit with their bottling manufacturer. And it just seems like Logan Paul really, really likes lawsuits because he is in a multitude of them right now. This one being the most recent for $68 million. This is what it is right here for a breach of contract from what is their bottling manufacturer. And the funny thing about this is Logan Paul bragged about being with this manufacturer, and when his Prime was originally accused of having forever chemicals in the bottle, and then him saying we're actually with one of the largest bottle manufacturers in the US, and they do all the bottling for all the big brands, so they do all this, so it's the same as everything else as Pepsi and Coke. And now they're breaching the contract with that said bottling manufacturer. So we can see, what did they do? As Logan Paul and KSI's Prime Hydration has been sued for $68 million for breach of contract by the bottling company after Prime allegedly backed out of the deal that they had made. And what was that deal? Here, due to the amount of money being invested in the production line, the two companies allegedly agreed on a minimum order commitment if they didn't hit take the agreed upon orders from Refresco. Prime would have been required to pay a set amount of money per case. So this bottling manufacturer, Refresco, basically said, we need to invest in machines to make the Prime bottles because Prime and Coke or Pepsi, the bottle is different. So they can't use the same machines that make other bottles because this bottle is different than those. So they'd have to make a whole nother new machine and invest in this infrastructure to make these bottles. And by putting out that risk, they want to mitigate that risk and say, we're going to buy these new machines, invest in this stuff in the product line, but we need a guarantee that we're not just burning money here. So if you don't sell what you're supposed to sell, you have to just pay us the difference. So if you were supposed to sell 1 million cases of Prime and they agreed that you'll do at least 1 million, but you only sell 500,000, then that 500,000 difference, you have to pay them whatever the agreed upon rate per case is, so that they don't just burn this money in this line that they made to make these specific bottles. And I think this is the amount here, saying if defendants did not purchase and take delivery of at least 90% of the agreed annual volume commitment for each of the 3 contract years, defendants would be obligated to pay Refresco a fixed shortfall amount for each 12-bottle case below the volume commitment. So basically exactly what I just said, but actually even like a higher number, because it says they need to get at least 90% of the agreed volume. So they can't get 50. If they were supposed to sell 1 million, they gotta get to 900,000. If they don't get there, then you got problems. So it's actually a lot. So basically, you got to sell what you said you're gonna sell. And with Prime, it's been such a hyped up brand and drink that it exploded instantly when it came out. Every kid wanted their parents to buy them a bottle of Prime. We're begging for it. It was sold out places. I don't think it was that big of a frenzy in the U.S. At least I didn't see it. I've never seen Prime sold out. It's always sitting on the shelf there, kind of collecting dust. But it was a huge deal. They had massive things going on. And then it actually started to fall off. And I think recently their year-over-year sales have dropped 50%. If I can find that, I'll put that here. But it's dropped 50% year-over-year. So they're not doing as well as they were, which makes sense because they exploded so quickly. You just simply cannot keep up the hype that Prime had by, just forever. It's just not going to happen. They had amazing hype up front, had 2 of the most famous people on the planet right after a boxing match, a huge, massive, it took control of the internet boxing match. They launched it off of those events there, and now, you have huge events or huge people signing to Prime, you're signing teams, you're doing all this stuff, you're getting the name out there, and eventually you're going to reach that plateau where everyone who has been crazy about KSI and Logan Paul has tried it. The people who like it might continue to buy it, but people are like, not that great, stop buying it. So you reach a point like that. But for this lawsuit, Refresco is seeking $67 million in damages due to Prime backing out of the contract. and they're asking for interest on top of that. So their total request is $68 million. So another lawsuit under Logan Paul's belt. He seems to love him, so I'm sure he's ecstatic to get this lawsuit and just super happy that it's happening. He loves doing lawsuits, so he's got to be happy about it. This one, he seems to have a lot of problems with Prime because obviously he's got this $68 million lawsuit for breach of contract. And then he's got the Olympics, which are also suing him. I don't think there's a number attached to that, but never fun to do a lawsuit against the Olympics. And then he's suing CoffeeZilla, which is he's just doing that to try and silence him, right? We all know that, but his public reputation, people looking at him doing that, is going down the drain. So Logan Paul and lawsuits, not doing too great together recently. And if you didn't know, Logan Paul and KSI here, they didn't start Prime from the ground up and build this company and did it all themselves. They came into a company that already did that. They're kind of just the marketing arm and the face of the company. I think officially KSI owns 20% of the company and Logan Paul owns 20%. And then I think Congo Brands has the other 60%. So it's Congo that did this breach of contract, that they are working on all the business stuff. I doubt that KSI and Logan Paul are diving into the numbers and the manufacturing and the contracts with producers and everything. They're probably just the marketing arm, the faces, and go online and market it. And then that's all they do, right? And then the Congo Brands handles the back end stuff. But for them, you get all the backlash. When this stuff happens, when the people behind the scenes do something dumb with the breach of contract, they don't have a forward-facing face. You are the forward-facing face, so these two guys are going to get the brunt of it, even if they might have not had anything to do with it. But Prime, getting sued left and right, I'm sure there's only a matter of time before something else comes out and they get sued for a third thing and going on and add another lawsuit under Logan Paul's belt. But $68 million here, X amount of money in the Olympics, however much money he's spending to sue CoffeeZilla, and maybe at the end of that, he loses that, has to pay whatever fees CoffeeZilla's lawyers had to pay for. Maybe this could get pretty expensive for Logan Paul, right? And obviously, the Prime stuff isn't coming out of his pocket. Maybe a portion of it will, right? He has 20%, maybe some of it will, but probably coming out of Prime. Still bad for his reputation. CoffeeZilla lawsuit, terrible for his reputation. The Olympics lawsuit, pretty bad for your reputation. So he's just been on a real big streak of kind of looking pretty dumb, and he seems to be really good at that. That's gonna do it for this video. As always, remember to smash the button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next